Hey guys, it's Ashley,
I'm Eric.
and this is Erwin and Friends. And I guess we can't really say this is Erwin and Friends yet because this is not Erwin and Friends, but you will be seeing Erwin in our part 2 video. This is our part 1, which is all of our snakes, because we thought that we would film a little bit backwards and show our snakes being it's nighttime when we're filming, and we will be filming tomorrow, which will be our lizards. So that will show Erwin, and he is a yellow Jerry Euromastix who started everything off for us. So that is why the channel is named after him.
And I know these may look like odd-looking snakes. It's because they are and aren't snakes. These are the only bearded dragons we own, but these are the only lizards we'll be showing in this video, just because they're very chill and they kind of wanted to come out, so we thought we'd take them out before bed.
So as you may be able to see, and I thought I just mentioned this too in the intro, they will have a lot more told about them in our next video. You may be able to tell that they aren't normal looking, and that is because they do have MBD, and again, we will be explaining everything in the next video. But most of our animals have come from past owners who can't take care of them, or who unfortunately didn't take care of them properly and believe that they should go to a home who knows how to care for them, for example. So unfortunately, both of them have been affected with MBD, but they are honestly our most loving reptiles. They are absolute sweethearts to have and a blessing. But yeah.
Yeah, don't want to get too much into these guys, but yeah, they do have their struggles, but they are honestly little fighters. They might look different, but they act just the same as another bearded dragon. But besides the fact, we just want to introduce you guys to all of our animals in 2 videos, because we've got about 20, and yeah, a little too much to also be able to talk and do everything in one video without making it too long. So that we could split into 2 parts, introduce you to everybody, introduce you guys to us. We're just some people from Canada trying to figure out how to live life and love our animals. So, welcome to Erwin and Friends.
So, first snake that we have here is Hannibal. He is about, 8 to 9 months at this point, and he's a hypomelanistic corn snake. So pretty much what that means is he's not lacking all of his black pigmentations, but normal corn snakes would have black around their saddles up here, and he doesn't. Whereas on the bottom, he does have the black checkers still. Whereas in a little bit, we're going to pull out another one that we have named Rodney, and he's amelanistic, which means that he's lacking all black pigmentation, even in his eyes. Whereas Hannibal still has the black pigmentation in his eyes. And he is a little bit hard to see because he is tiny. He was a lot tinier when we got him. But, yeah.
And eventually we will have care videos on everything. But right now we're just doing a little bit of an introduction, and we'll be going through some of the different species, a couple different things we have. Yeah. Well, it's okay. And yeah, this is Hannibal.
So we're starting off small and we're gonna go big. So this here is Rodney, and as I was saying in the last clip, he is a amelanistic corn snake, which means that he is lacking all pigmentation of black, including his eyes, which is a clear way of telling if any animal is albino pretty much, is just to look at their eyes because they'll be red. And then all of his saddles up here are all white, like lined with white. Whereas if we had a normal corn snake, we could show you, but they have black lining their saddles. So with him, he's completely lacking the black in his saddles, and actually all over his body. Whereas with Hannibal, he's lacking it only a little bit, and then a normal corn snake has fully black all over him.
Yeah, and so this guy, he's not full grown. He's getting there, but he's about, we don't know for sure, but we're thinking about 2 to 3 from what we are told, maybe a little older. The guy that we got it from really didn't know for sure either, and he wasn't able to get him to eat for about a couple months before we ended up taking him. And the one thing that he was doing wrong, as if people who do not own colubrids or snakes in general, you know most of them eat mice, and he was feeding this guy small rats, which is
significantly bigger than a
large mouse.
Large mouse, yes.
So he was having, I think that's why he was having troubles eating. And, but after a week, we got him to eat, and he's eaten ever since. We've had him for a couple months now, and this guy's doing great. And so, yeah, this is Rodney, and we're going to move on to our king snake, Beetlejuice.
So this here is Beetlejuice. She is our San Luis Potosi, or San Luis Potosi king snake. I'm not too sure how to pronounce that, and I'm sorry if I butchered it, but we just recently found out about this species of snake. We knew about king snakes, but we didn't know about the subspecies being Mexican king Potosi snakes.
Other people are refer to them as Mex-Mex, but we refer to her as Beetlejuice. So,
yeah.
As you guys can tell, she is not in the best condition. We've only had her for a couple days, I think just about a week. She's getting better. She had a lot of stuck shed. She's been neglected for at least a couple months, if not longer. Her owner says he did love her, and I do believe so, but he just didn't have the time and really didn't take the best care of her. She was covered in stuck shed. As you can see, she's completely underweight. She didn't eat, he said, maybe since beginning of July, June time, up in there. It's not good at all. But as you can also see, her face is a little squished there. She doesn't have teeth. She's a little bit older of a girl, and they've kind of fallen out. So when we feed her, we have to assist feed her, and we practically have to just put it into her mouth. She just opens it. She doesn't strike or anything. But we've got her to eat 2 pinky mice so far, and she's taking them down great. She's doing awesome, drinking, exercising. As you can see, she is alert. She is flicking her little tongue there as it gets stuck out. But she's going to do a lot better and last a good couple more years.
It's suspected, did you say her age?
No.
It's suspected that she's about 10 years old now. The guy got her about 7 to 8 years ago and said that he assumes that she's around 10 years old. So, from what we are hoping, we'll get another good, 10 years out of her. That's what we're hoping. But she's definitely bumped back from the first day that we got her, and I will be inserting some pictures of when we first got her, because the ad that I saw her, I felt really awful, and she's bounced back amazingly.
Yeah, and so pretty much this is our girl Beetlejuice, and we're going to switch up from the Bloopers, and let's move on to the ball pythons.
So this is our first ball python, and she was actually our first snake and ball python. Her name is Jade, and she's a normal head albino ball python. She was born in
July of last year, so 2018.
And she has gotten big fast. She was given to us from a lady who believed that she was not taking care of her properly anymore. She was given to us in perfect condition, to be quite honest, but she believed that she just wasn't taking care of her. She didn't really have the time for her anymore, and she just decided to give her to us, which was, or I guess we ended up buying her from her, but she had put her on Kijiji and was like, hey, it's time to let her go, and we brought her home, and she is hands down probably one of our nicest. She has had her moments, but she is a complete sweetheart. A complete sweetheart.
Yeah, but watch out. Well, I know you guys aren't going to be feeding her because that's kind of our job. But yeah, she can miss the rat quite a bit and will eat your hand. So, easy to deal with though. But she's a beautiful girl. As you can see, she's nice healthy and beefy.
Yeah.
Healthy, good freaking word for that.
We are hoping that eventually she will have her first clutch with us, which would be very nice. and we're not too sure who we want to pair her with yet, but that will be something for the future, as obviously she's still got a little bit to go.
Yeah, at least a good couple years. So, but one day, hopefully, she will be producing some awesome clutches for us.
So this here is Lemon, and very basic name. She is a lemon blast ball python. She was given to us by a lady who had actually gotten her for her son, and they assumed that she was actually a boy at the time, and she was actually named Kane. And yeah, her son had just lost interest and wasn't taking care of her anymore and decided to give her to us. And she has been an absolute sweetheart. She is quite shy, and you may notice that she is a little dull right now because she's just coming out of a shed. But she is an absolute sweetheart. She's about
almost a year old. She was born at the end of 2018. So we weren't told exactly, so we're assuming in the last 3 months, October, November, December, something like that.
Most of our animals, truthfully, we do kind of have to guess their ages, just because majority of them have been rehomed to us from people who just no longer can care for them. So we kind of have to go off what we've been told and the estimates that we've been given. But,
and size helps too. But
yeah. But,
and one thing that's funny about how she was Kane, or when she was a he, or thought. So Jade was originally, because I thought I was funny, we named Jade Jake the snake. And then we had Kane. So we were like, hey, we got 2 wrestlers. And they're both females. So that changed pretty quick.
Yeah.
And let's move on to some of our bigger boys. So this is Reggie. He is a lesser ball python. So this boy is about 6 years old, and we got him from a local reptile shop here where we live. And honestly, he has been one of our best dispositioned boys we've had. Honestly, he is so friendly, and not always the best to come out, because as you can tell, he seems to be a little skittish, but he never puts up a fight or anything, really. He's a really good guy. And one thing about him is he actually only eats live. And I know that's a problem for a lot of people, inhumane and stuff like that, but, you know, we gotta eat, snakes gotta eat. It's just the way it is. And what makes it better, in our opinion, is the rats and everything we do use, if we do feed live, are only bred for food. So if our snake isn't eating them, another snake will. It's just the circle of life. But you gotta realize that also sometimes you gotta deal with that with snakes. So if you're wanting to get into keeping snakes, that is always a possibility. So not every snake is gonna be accepting or willing to accept frozen thawed. And one thing about him is he is, like I said, 6 years old, and he's been with the same guy the whole time. And one reason why we believe he's so skittish is because he's been in a rack system the whole time, and it's nothing against rack systems. We do believe in them, but also believe in things have to be the right size. They gotta have, stimulants, have proper things to do in their enclosure. They gotta have, obviously, the water, nice
hides, leaves.
All these things that would, be put into a tank, but also put it into a bin, a tub, whatever you do. Like, there's no difference between plastic and glass. It's just how you go about it. And he has had no problem. He was in a clear bin, but everything was dark. He's now in an open clear bin. He can see out. He sleeps during the day. He takes his time. Then he comes out and explores every night. He takes a drink and everything like that. And he had no problem adjusting to this style of living or being with us. And we believe each snake has a personality, so some can have problems with different things like that. And he hasn't. But the next boy we're going to bring out is Orion, and he has had a little bit of a disposition problem. He had no problems eating. Like, he still, defecates, drinks. He did everything perfectly. He just ended up switching. It looks something switched in his head, and he just isn't as comfortable anymore. And without further ado, let's bring him out.
So our next ball python is Orion. He is a pastel ball python, and as you can see, I guess he doesn't look very tense right now, but normally he is pretty tense, or he likes to stay pretty focused on one person or anything that's moving, as you can see now. He was with the same guy for 6 years until he ended up having a family, and as things sometimes happen, he just didn't have the proper time for him as he needed, so he ended up giving him to us, and he's been with us since. We put him in a bin that we have most of our ball pythons in, and unfortunately he absolutely hated it. He would try to get out, he would throw himself around in it, he was not having a good time. So we put him in a bin that's a lot taller, screwed logs in, and put some leaves around, and he absolutely loved it. Normally, ball pythons don't climb very often, and I've seen a lot of people say that you shouldn't even really give them climbing. Again, it's all about preference, but a lot of people say that they can hurt themselves. I agree, it all depends on the ball python. If we gave Reggie things to climb on, he would definitely hurt himself.
Or just not use it whatsoever.
This guy, he absolutely loves it. He would hurt himself without having climbing things. Like, when we didn't have logs in there, he would go up on the top near the lid, and he would constantly fall, and we would always hear him falling and hitting himself, and we honestly had more of a worry that he'd hurt himself that way than now. We never hear him, ever.
It was very weird how his disposition changed, but we didn't take it in a bad way. We changed what we were doing a little bit. We were taking him out maybe a little too much as well. Like, he was super friendly at first, but then because things switched. So, we started taking him out less, giving him his space, giving him, things to climb on, just stuff to do. And he has calmed down a little bit. He doesn't come out as much because he doesn't like to come out. But right now, he's not doing too bad. We actually have already filmed this and had a little bit of problems with the audio, so the second time he was actually a little bit more calm. He was a little more tensed up in the first video, but he's doing a lot better now.
I'll actually put a little bit of the clip from the first video in so that you can see the difference between him now and then. When we first brought him out, he was completely curled in a ball and watched us the whole beginning of the video.
And he was in an S mode the entire time. And, not like he was gonna strike, but, if he wanted to, he was easily prepared. But I forgot to mention about, our last big boy there, Reg, is that he is a proven breeder, and, we eventually do want to, breed him. We don't have a female for him this year, yet. If we do, end up acquiring one, hopefully, maybe doing something for, the season. But, if not, it doesn't happen. But he, to our knowledge, hasn't been bred. But, we would like to. He was a very big, beefy boy and probably produce some good babies. Ooh.
But, as you can see there, the moment you touch him, he starts getting a little meh.
And honestly, any of our snakes, as you'll see with some of the next ones we'll bring up, they really like to get in your face. And I'm completely okay with it. I'm comfortable. But this guy, I just don't trust him. See how he's gripping me? Now he's trying to throw his body. And this is what we're talking about, where he starts to get not bitey, but he doesn't want to be out. And this is the time where we realize he needs to go back. He's about to bite me.
And he will be put back. And that is a perfect example of why certain snakes will react differently to being rehomed. We have rehomed majority of our snakes and have not had any of the issues that we have with him. We love Orion to death. He is one of my favorite snakes, hands down. And I try not to pick my favorites. But he definitely loved being with that guy, loved his environment, was set in that environment, was comfortable with it, and unfortunately just wasn't really ready for the switch and had to switch.
Exactly. Honestly, not that I think we're perfect or we know everything. Honestly, we are pretty new to owning reptiles in general, but we're very passionate and we've learned a whole bunch and a lot of it is hands-on experience. But we don't believe we've really done anything wrong. We think this is, it's like taking somebody who's been in the same house for 30 years and building something new. It's going to be a little bit of a hard change to meet something different. So he's, having to learn to adapt. It's probably only been a good couple months, so, he's still going to take time. It is what it is. Unfortunately, you got to realize, though, not every snake's going to be that little cuddle bug that loves you 24/7. That's what we were hoping with him, and he was, and he changed. Unfortunately, that's what it is, but still love him. He's not going anywhere. He's staying with us forever. But we also just adapt to the way he is. We don't treat...
You give him his space.
Yeah, we don't treat him like our other ball pythons or any of our other snakes, because he's not like any of our other snakes, but we don't even try to treat ours even too similar, because every personality is pretty different, as much as really all of them are really friendly. He's the only one who would probably be inclined to bite the most. Like, I haven't been bitten by him. I've been bitten by Rodney and Jade, and she's been bitten by Lemon. And
fault of our own.
All faults of feeding. And it's like a misstrike, they catch your hand, or one time I dropped Rodney's rat and not thinking, I just stuck my hand in. So he bit me. Whose fault was that? Mine. I just, wiggled my hand in like a little mouse right in front of his face. What's gonna do? Bite me? Obviously. So it is what it is, but don't expect every snake to be super nice. But don't also fear of that, because you can't let that put you off, because that's what is gonna throw you off from snakes or something altogether, and it's not worth it, because they're honestly so amazing. He has taught us so much in his own ways, so it's all a learning curve, and yeah.
Now moving on to boas. This is Onyx. We are not too sure on if he is a specific morph at all, so if you happen to know, leave a comment. But as far as we know, he's a normal BCI. There were some questioning on if he was a hypo, but the only problem with that is he still does have quite a bit of black. So that's the only way that it was being thrown off a little bit. But regardless, he's beautiful. And he came from a guy who didn't have him in the best conditions. When he came, he was quite feisty. He was striking at us every time we even moved. And now, as you can see, he's the most loving snake ever. Yeah, honestly, within like couple days he came around. He really calmed down, and he just loves to explore. He's coming up on a year now, or just over a year?
No,
just over a year?
2 years.
2 years?
2 years.
Okay.
2017 he was born.
Okay.
From our knowledge, honestly, he is about breeding size too. So hopefully this year with the big girl we'll bring up next to show you, maybe we'll get a good litter out of them. It will be a first time for both of them to our knowledge. So it's all about luck, and it's just gonna be a road we're gonna all go down together. But he, like Ashley was saying, has been one of the nicest guys, and he did the opposite of what Orion did. He was very feisty, very we were told he was tanked, aggressive, not even defensive. And I would say that he was the only one that was really aggressive, and really with a little bit of handling, he was fine. And as you can see with him getting up all in my grill, he has no problems with it, and he really loves coming out. He loves to explore. Sometimes he's a little bit of a handful for that, though. So this is our big girl, Ruby. She's more comfortable up here, so we'll try to get some more close-up, and especially of everybody, because we don't got the best angle right now. But anything, we'll try to do some more close-ups. But she is I believe about a 3 to 4 year old type 2 anery. She, like I said earlier, to our knowledge, has not been bred. So we're gonna see what happens with that. But she is one of our best disposition snakes. She is so friendly. She does explore quite a bit, and will throw her body weight around, kind of similar to Orion sometimes, but more or less it's just because she has the body to do it, and I don't see hers as more aggressive. And one thing, if she'll stop exploring, ooh, you're okay, girl. Sometimes she's a little hard to handle, so she's not doing it as much right now. But you can see sometimes with Onyx, you'll see him start to S up, and if you see that, usually you're like, okay, I'm getting big, and usually that's it. And that's the one thing that makes it a little hard with boas, and is getting to kind of trying to read them a little more, and sometimes it's kind of luck to if you get bit or not. Sometimes you can't tell. Like they'll just S up and they sit there, but they're not trying to be aggressive. They're not actually S'ing up to strike. They just for some reason are comfortable like that and they'll chill. And sometimes people mistake that for them going to bite. Like even there's sometimes where I stick my hand into Ruby's enclosure where it's like, if I can get her back, where's she going?
On the chair.
Okay.
There we go. She is a handful, and that's a big thing with boas. And if you watch Clint's Reptiles, he will even agree that if you want a boa, I don't know if you've noticed, but both of them have not stopped moving this entire time. He's not as bad, but both of them have not stopped moving this entire time.
And the big thing is you see the difference.
That's why we kept them out. That's
their size. And honestly, it seems really weird for people who don't know much about boas or snakes. Usually they breed about 4 feet, and he's a good 5.5, I believe. So he's good to go. The way they work too is usually they don't get as big as the females. Like you can tell this a big beefy girl, and he is looking good, and he will get beefier, but I don't think he'll ever max out to her. And she's not even close to done growing. She's only 3 years old, and I think she's about 6.5, just over 6.5, about 7 foot long. So she's got a little bit to grow. She can get upwards about 12 foot. So that'd be that'd be something cool to have, to see, to have in our family. It's just a great big beautiful snake, and one plan that we have to do with everything that in relatively what we can do is do some educational shows, and we'll keep everybody updated on that. And we're trying to film and go along with our lives as we go with the animals, so you'll see more of these guys, what we'll be doing with them, any projects, any new animals that end up coming into our family.
And if you would like to see firsthand of that, I would say go follow their Instagram at Irwin and Friends, and you'll also get notified then when we're posting YouTube videos, because I'll be posting that as well.
All our plans with breeding and everything, we're gonna try to keep updated on that. And the one other thing is anything you guys kind of want to see. If you guys want to see kind of any daily routines we do with them, like. We do have our own morning routines. We gotta get up and get things cleaned up and see what has to be done. Excuse me. So if you want to see any of that, if there's sometimes we got a bunch of animals. Sometimes a weird thing happen.
Product reviews. If you want to see product reviews, we can do that too.
Honestly, there's a wide array of different things we love to do, and if
we're always open to suggestions here.
Yeah, click care videos. I set up videos. I have not yet done it, but I'm looking into starting to maybe build enclosures and maybe sell them one day. Not this is way future, but if you want to see any builds like that, and you can do your own little DIYs, any little things we do, like we can there's a lot of things. So. We'll stop rambling. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll have a part 2 coming out, and you'll see all our lizards, not just the non-footed ones. So thank you for tuning in. I'm Eric.
I'm Ashley.
That's Onyx. This is Ruby, and we'll see you next time.
I totally messed up there.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. Where was I going with that? How old is she?
She's only about a year and a half. No, just over a year.
Woman.
No, she's about a year and a half.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Let's look. The way they work too is usually they don't get as big as the females. Like you can tell this a big beefy girl, and he is looking good and he will get beefier, but I don't think he'll ever max out to her, and she's not even close to done growing. She's only 3 years old, and I think she's about 6.5, just over 6.5, about 7 foot long. So she's got a little bit to grow. She can get upwards about 12 foot. So that'd be that'd be something cool to have to see.
Change his name to Bruce Willis.
I'm Bruce Willis. Hi. Where are you going?
Don't run too far.
Where are you going? We need you. We need you for